Chapter 1. A Strange Message. Otto Lidenbrock is the famous professor of geology at the University of Hamburg in Germany. He is also my uncle. He is 65 years old, not very tall, with grey hair. He wears small, round gold glasses that make him look very serious. I'm Axel. I'm only 19 and the professor's personal assistant. I watch my uncle very carefully when he works. That's why I know so much about our planet, Earth. My uncle, the professor, is a hard worker. He spends most of his day in his laboratory at the university, so he never comes home before 2 o'clock for lunch. But yesterday, he came home very early. This surprised Martha, our cook. The poor old girl did not have the lunch ready, and she was a little upset.
Professor, you're early.
Never mind, Martha. I don't want lunch today.
But, Professor, you must eat.
The professor looked excited.
Martha, food is not important.
Then he turned to me.
Axel, come with me.
He took me into his library. It was a big room with lots of bookcases against the walls and heavy velvet curtains in front of the windows. In the middle of the room, there was a desk where my uncle spent most of his evenings. He took an old book out of his coat pocket. He looked at me.
Axel, look at this. Look at this.
I took it from his hand. Its cover was hard and it looked very old. Why? What is it, Professor?
I found it today in an old bookshop. It's 700 years old.
What's it about?
It's about the old princes from Norway who came to live in Iceland.
Why is that so special? He smiled and said,
Because it is written in a language that no one uses anymore.
I opened the book and saw strange letters from a strange alphabet. I did not understand any of it. I turned its yellow pages, and a piece of paper fell out of the book onto the floor. The professor jumped on it.
What's this?
It was an old yellow piece of paper with the same strange letters on it. The professor knew many languages, but he could not read this old language from Iceland. He took a thick book from one of the shelves. It was a dictionary for all the old languages in the world which people do not speak today. Then he gave me a piece of paper and a pencil.
Axel, write down these letters as I read them to you.
The professor read each letter to me, and I wrote them down. When we finished, this is what they said.
Go into the volcano at Snæfellsjökull. Before the 1st of July, the sun will show you the way to the center of the earth. Make this journey. It is fantastic.
The name under this strange message was Arne Saknussemm.
Arne Saknussemm. I don't believe it.
Who's he?
He was a famous scientist. He wrote many strange things about the Earth, but no one believed him. They said he was crazy. This must be the answer to the things he said. He left this piece of paper in the old book for someone to find. Do you understand, Axel, how lucky we are?
Then he turned to the library door.
Martha!
I couldn't understand any of the things my uncle said. What do you mean, we? Martha opened the door to the library.
Did you want me, sir?
Yes, Martha. I want you to buy us 2 train tickets to Denmark. Master Axel and I are going to Iceland.
This was the biggest surprise of my life. What? Uncle, I can't go. The professor looked at me calmly.
You can, and you will.
Chapter 3. Iceland. It was very early in the morning when the boat got to Iceland. We could see the round body of the Snæfellsjökull volcano going up into the sky through the clouds. It had snow near the top, and it looked like an angry monster waiting for someone to try and climb it. The boat stopped at Reykjavik. It was a small town with small brick houses. Mr. Fridriksson, a professor from the university there, met us at the boat. He looked very friendly and smiled when he saw us.
You must be Professor Lidenbrock.
And you must be Professor Fridriksson. This is my assistant, Axel.
We shook hands.
You got my letter, then?
Oh, yes, Professor, and everything is ready for you. Please come with me.
My uncle did not tell anyone the real reason for our journey. He wanted the two of us to be the only ones to travel to the center of the Earth. But we needed someone to go along with us, as we didn't know the area and the ice and snow around the volcano was too dangerous. So Mr. Fridriksson found us a guide. His name was Hans, and he looked perfect for the job. He was tall and very strong. He had small blue eyes and long red hair. He almost never smiled or spoke. Mr. Fridriksson introduced us.
Professor Lidenbrock, this is Hans. Professor Lidenbrock and his assistant Axel.
Hans moved his head just a little to say hello.
Hans is a very quiet man, like most Icelanders, but he is the strongest and best climber in Reykjavik.
My uncle smiled at Mr. Fridriksson's words.
He's just perfect, Mr. Fridriksson.
Mr. Fridriksson let us stay at his house until we were ready to leave. We needed many things for our adventure. We took 4 horses to travel to the mountain. The professor and I each rode one, but Hans walked. The other 2 horses carried our bags. We took a lot of things with us: rope for climbing, tools, lights, guns, medicine, and enough food for 6 months. The only problem was we could only carry enough water for 1 week. The professor believed there was water under the volcano, but what if there wasn't? We left Reykjavik on the 15th of June, early in the morning. We traveled along the sea, and it was a wonderful journey. The land had a dark color from the explosions of the volcano, and the beautiful blue sea next to it made it look fantastic. The journey to Sneffels took us 6 days, and each day we stopped in a different village for the night. The villages were small and very pretty, built at the foot of the volcano, next to the sea. The villagers were very nice, but like Hans, they did not talk much. When we got closer to the top of Sneffels, I thought of something. Uncle, what happens if the volcano explodes again?
No, that's impossible. This volcano had its last explosion in 1229. I checked the ground. It's impossible.
But it's not like...
Axel, I am a scientist. This is a fact. There is nothing more to say.
It was now 11 o'clock at night, and we were at the top. We stopped and found a small place inside the opening of the volcano where we could sleep. That night, I had a dream. I saw that I was alone inside the volcano. I was lost and very scared. Suddenly, the volcano exploded, and I was shot out of its top like a rock.